Wow. Welcome back to another episode of Peep the Game, Finesse Accordingly. Peep the Game, Finesse Accordingly. Some of you OG subscribers, I'm pretty sure you've noticed that I've changed the title of the channel again. Yet again. But I assure you, this is going to be the last time I change the name of the channel. This is gonna be the last change. This is hosted by, let me introduce myself again. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Def Finesse. It's a combination of the two words deft and finesse. Two qualities that every so-called black man should have, along with being tireless. That's that TDF shit. I know it's been a minute. I'll get into explaining where I've been and what I've been doing over the last 2 years. I believe the last video I posted was somewhere in August of 2021. And now we're in September 2023. I hope everybody has been all right. I hope everybody has stayed blessed out here. Everybody's been carefully but calculatively been plotting and scheming, working on themselves, working on their plans, actionizing everything. Hope you've been tireless in your pursuit. I hope you've been knocking down every single obstacle that has been placed in your path. For real. Yeah, it's been a lot. I'm trying to figure out if the last video I posted was before COVID hit. Must have been in the middle of COVID. Yeah, it must have been in the middle of COVID. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a little treat. This video is probably going to be a long video because the video itself is 35 minutes and 56 seconds long. So essentially 36 minutes. And it's going to be on brother Khallid Abdul Muhammad. It's his Dominic Carter interview on New York 1 from 1999. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. But before we do that, the topic of this video is how to master or the art of dealing with what I used to call the pet Negro. I think YouTube deems that word as, or that description as derogatory. The last video that I used that word, I used that verbiage, they flagged my shit. They flagged me for that. So I've come up with a new phrase that I think is actually even better than the previous phrase, which is Scooby-Doo. We got a lot of Scooby-Doos out here. And when you think about Scooby-Doo and the Mystery Gang, that entire dynamic, first of all, everybody in that gang is white. For whatever reason, they decided to make the dog brown. Moreover, that dog can talk. And that dog is low-key, lazy as hell, loves to eat, and is scary. He's scared of all the monsters. He's always running away, doesn't want to do nothing. And he's always waiting on a Scooby snack, kissing the team's ass and shit so he can get a little Scooby snack. There's not a single episode that I saw where he was given a box of Scooby snacks or even more than one Scooby snack at a time. This pet, you know what, works his ass off for one little Scooby snack. And when you think about it, a lot of so-called black men today have been, or I should say have allowed themselves to be maneuvered into similar situations, especially in the workplace. So on this channel, we're going to refer to those black individuals as Scooby-Doos. not Uncle Toms, not pet Negroes. I think these terms are actually outdated. These are Scooby-Doos. Now that begs the question, okay, then what are we gonna be? Well, we're gonna be apex predators. What's an apex predator? I mean, there's many examples. You got lions, you got tigers, you got eagles, you take your pick. On this channel, I'm gonna refer to it more so as tigers. So, you're either an apex predator or you're a Scooby-Dooby-Doo. You take your pick. Now with that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into this video. On some TDF shit.
It's to die for.
Controversial Million Youth March, its organizer, Khallid Muhammad, sat down for an exclusive one-on-one with our Dominic Carter. Dominic joins us now.
Now, real quick, for those of you that don't know who this brother, not this brother on the screen right now, but who Dr. Khallid Abdul Muhammad is. As a matter of fact, his name is spelled wrong, and Abdul is his middle name, or was his middle name, and Khallid is his first name. To put it simply, he was basically the Malcolm X of the 1990s. What's very interesting is that he actually ended up suffering the same fate as Malcolm did in the 60s. That being, this brother also, again, not this man right here, but the brother that we're going to see pretty soon, he was kicked out of the Nation of Islam. he got suspended, he got banned, and winded up dead. I'll let you interpret that as you will. There's plenty of conspiracies surrounding that. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Now with a few excerpts from the interview. Dominic?
Good evening, Lewis. He's been called a demagogue and a racist.
All right, right here. This is going to be the Scooby-Doo that we're talking about in the video. Already you can look at him and you can see it. You can see, you can see that he's a corporate, you know what, corporate Negro. That shouldn't be an offensive term. You can see that he's a Scooby-Doo. You can look at his hair up top. He's losing it, but for whatever reason, he won't shave his head bald. He's got the goofy tie on with the oversized suit. Well, actually, now the suit fits him relatively well. I don't know if he's getting his eyebrows done. In other words, this guy's a goofball. So let's go ahead and see how this interview plays out.
And with every press conference, Khallid Muhammad adds fuel to those charges. We know very little about the man at the center of the storm of tomorrow's Million Youth March. At times confrontational, at times lashing out at me, Muhammad defended his rhetoric and his mission. As for tomorrow, Muhammad says he hopes for a peaceful, orderly rally, but he will not rule out violence. Believe.
Oh yeah, I haven't said it already. I've seen this interview, and I've actually listened to this interview. I mean, at least 50 times, probably more than that, probably 100 times. All right, so this isn't me reacting to anything necessarily. This is more so a commentary. Okay. Now the reason why I was cracking up earlier is just because, as you all probably already know, Khallid, I mean, really masterfully handles this guy in this interview, and I'm just laughing at the way he was looking at him. Right here.
We know very little about the press conference. Khallid Muhammad adds fuel to those charges. We know very little about the man at the center of the storm of tomorrow's Million Youth March. At times confrontational, at times lashing out at me, Muhammad defended his rhetoric and his mission. As for tomorrow, Muhammad says he hopes for a peaceful, orderly rally, but he will not rule out violence.
Believe in peace if possible, but violence when necessary.
So you're telling me here now that you're not ruling out the possibility of violence tomorrow?
I honestly do not believe, Brother Dominique, as hard as you attempt in your weak manner to press, I honestly do not believe that there will be any violence tomorrow whatsoever.
Muhammad already appears to be in damage control mode about tomorrow's event. We asked him if the march will be a failure if only 2,000 people turn out. Muhammad's answer, no, because thanks to the media, millions have already heard his message. Muhammad has also been dogged by questions about where his funding comes from, a topic he was not too happy to discuss. How do you make your living? Where do you earn your money from?
How do you make your living? Where do you get your money from?
But again, I'm here in the room.
Well, how much do they pay you?
I make a decent salary.
Oh man, brother Khallid, I mean, he basically trolled that man the whole interview. Essentially, like I said, he was the Malcolm X of the 90s. He was very, very fierce, very, very verbose, and he said a lot of things that some would deem to be inflammatory or anti-Semitic, you know, all types of stuff. He was really one of those guys, right? So this Dominic Carter guy, the Scooby-Doo that's interviewing him, he understands all of this, and he's come prepared for war. He's come prepared for battle. You see what I'm saying? So what we're gonna see is the Scooby-Doo try to take an aggressive approach to the situation, right? Because he mistakenly believes that that's the approach that brother Khallid Muhammad is gonna take. So Carter is on the attack. He's trying to get him, right? He thinks that it's about to be a situation where it's about to be two titans meeting up, you know, in the boxing ring or something, and getting putting on a good show for everybody. But what we're really about to see is one person get completely outclassed, outboxed, outplayed. I mean, just completely outmaneuvered.
And I make a decent salary from the masses of black people who love me.
From donations?
From the masses of black people who love me and love the strong and bold, uncompromising stand to reestablish black power.
Muhammad did tell us he did not pay for his Harlem brownstone or even the suit he wore to the interview. We asked him what, besides the color of his skin, separates him from David Duke. Muhammad says his people have been oppressed, Duke's have not. We also asked him this question about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. What would Dr. King think of what you're doing? What would, if he were alive today, what
kind of goofy ass question is that? How are you gonna ask a grown man about what another man would be thinking? Like that don't even make any sense. Like, are you serious right now? Come on, Scooby.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo! Hateful words that you have used to describe people, what would he think?
As we say in the black community, you're too much. I mean, they've given you a list of questions. You're just making sure you go through every one of them. I hope they will give you a bonus, Mr. Carter. What would Dr. King think? You sit here and ask me what Dr. King would think. How could I possibly know what Dr. King would think? I think, though, that maybe Dr. King would understand that when you have a strong, militant, revolutionary, uncompromising voice out there, that it forces the enemy in a position to say, I'd better deal with Martin Luther King Jr. I certainly don't want to deal with the Black Power crews out there.
Critics have charged Muhammad became invisible after last year's march. We asked him what has he been doing the last year. His answer, working street patrols with an organization known as Black Men's Movement Against Crack. He says he's working to set up a free food program and also doing work, Lewis, with political prisoners.
All right, thanks a lot, Dominic.
Good evening and welcome to another edition.
What cracks me up, because I've watched this a few times, is this man's demeanor in presenting this interview. Like, he's talking like he really went out there and did like a good job. You know what I mean? Like he really went out there and completed the mission, fulfilled the assignment. Like, brother, you did terrible. But hey, I get it. It's show business. You gotta have that confidence, even if you really ain't doing shit, I guess.
Thanks a lot, Dominic.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Inside City Hall. I'm Andrew Kurtzman. The mayor says he's a hate monger. Harlem politicians say he's an outsider. He's called a demagogue, a racist, an anti-Semite. And with every press conference, Khalid Muhammad adds fuel to those charges. Tomorrow, he'll address his so-called Million Youth March. Today, the minister sat down for an exclusive interview with my New York One colleague, Dominic Carter. Tonight, we'll bring you that interview. And then later, we'll bring together our Friday Reporters Roundtable to discuss the matter. We'll also part the curtains on this.
So like I was saying, Carter, the interviewer, he took a very, very aggressive approach to the interview. Khallid Muhammad, contrary to what his usual play style is, he actually decided to take more of a defensive, passive-aggressive approach, which is what makes the interview even more interesting, as we're going to see.
Week's winners and losers in the news, but we begin with our top story. Khalid Muhammad refused today to rule out the possibility of violence at tomorrow's rally. He met up with our camera crew at Amy Ruth's, a restaurant on 116th Street in Harlem. He sat down with Dominic Carter to discuss his critics, his reputation, and more. Here is that interview.
Mr. Khalid Muhammad, we want to thank you very much for joining us here on New York One.
Thank you, Brother Dominic.
I hope this is an opportunity for you to express your views, but also, frankly, there are some very serious questions that you need to answer. So let me go back to last year's Million Youth March, the first one that was held here. Now, you claim to be a leader in the African-American community, but what kind of leader tells thousands attending a rally in self-defense, if they touch you, take their guns? In other words, what type of real leader advocates violence when there are thousands of young lives at risk?
The Bible speaks of...
So you hear the question, right? And then you hear the statement that he made in the beginning. He says, you claim to be a leader. I mean, Khallid has not claimed to be a leader. Okay? So he's already starting off, the Scooby-Doo is already starting off trying to position Khallid by putting words in his mouth. But the rhetoric, or at least the quotation for the most part, is true. Khallid was up there in that rally, that march, saying that, hey, you know, if they take your guns, take their gun from them and all this other shit. So he's a very, very aggressive individual, very, very aggressive man in terms of his vision, his goals, his pursuits. He's what I would call a TDF apex predator, TDF nigga. So it makes sense for Carter to attack him in this very, very direct way, because we've seen, or at least he's seen, that this is this man's play style. So this man's subsequent approach, or I should say reaction to Dominic Carter's play style, is hilarious. He takes a far cooler, calmer, low-key, passive-aggressive approach in terms of how he answers the questions.
Thousands attending a rally in self-defense, if they touch you, take their guns. In other words, what type of real leader advocates violence when there are thousands of young lives at risk?
The Bible speaks of the Good Shepherd. And the Bible says that when the wolves attack the sheep, attack the flock, that the Good Shepherd is a responsible shepherd, and that shepherd works indeed to protect the flock from the attacking wolves. I notice you said in your statement that it was a statement in self-defense, and certainly in the Second Circuit Court and the Court of Appeals, Judge Chin and the higher court determined that my words were indeed words spoken in self-defense and self-defense only.
But what kind of leader uses those words when there are people's lives at risk?
See how he tries to double down? So Khallid answered the question. He even brought up the court system and everything. Like, yeah, you know, this is constitutional. You can defend yourself in self-defense. So there's nothing wrong with what I said. And a good leader, according to the Bible. So he got biblical on him. Destroyed him. Off of the first question alone, Khallid is winning. So you see Scooby-Doo's response. He decides to double down and attack him like on some manhood type stuff, right? On some leadership shit.
A strong leader
Watch this.
in self-defense and self-defense only.
But what kind of leader uses those words when there are people's lives at risk?
A strong leader, a bold leader, an uncompromising
and
leader.
then the type of leader that as soon as the stuff hits the fan, he leaves.
Well, you know that.
You gotta give it to Carter though, you know what I'm saying? I try to watch these interviews and stuff like this. Try to watch it as objectively as you can possibly watch it. Like you're just looking at two people go at it. You know what I'm saying? Carter, he's doubling down and he's trying to get him. It's like he's trying to put a certain narrative out there. Like, hey, you were out here talking all this shit, riling everybody up. You vanished. When everything popped off, you left. So let's see how Brother Khallid handles that allegation.
That I didn't leave. This bold leader, an uncompromising
and
leader.
then the type of leader that as soon as the stuff hits the fan,
He's
he
attacking.
leaves.
Well, you know that I didn't leave, but you are playing the devil's advocate,
Right here.
as you do so often. You're sitting here in the place of the white man, saying what the white man wants you to say. You've
Minister,
seen in the newspapers, in the Post, in the Daily News,
Minister,
me in the middle of the police
Minister,
and the security holding me back. It was impossible to leave. I've even heard the lie that I left in a white Mercedes-Benz, which was early in the morning at 9 a.m. when I went to Federal Express. The police froze all vehicles behind the stage. No vehicle was allowed to leave that day. And as I faced the Klan and police in Jasper, Texas, after they had dragged our brother to his death, that is the way I faced them that day. And it is a propaganda scheme to say that I turned heels and ran, and I understand it's up to you to make sure that that gets out.
Damn. Okay. So, okay, if this is boxing, we basically just watched Dominic Carter right here, aka Scooby-Doo. We basically just watched him get knocked down like 3 times in the first round. Okay? So now check this out. Peep this. Peep how Khallid Muhammad, he answers Scooby's allegations, right? He answers the allegations, okay, and literally gives facts as to what exactly happened, where he was at, the times and everything. But he puts some bait in there, okay, that we're gonna see Carter jump on. So this is the bait. Let's go back and watch it. Yeah, this is gonna be a long
You've
video,
seen
man.
in the newspaper, white
lives.
Defense, a strong leader, a bold leader,
Right.
an uncompromising leader.
So he basically lets them know a man does this.
And then the type of leader that as soon as the stuff hits the fan, he leaves.
So then Carter attacks his manhood, right? Basically saying, hey, nah, you a bitch ass nigga.
Well, you know that I didn't leave, but you are playing the devil's advocate, as you do so often. You're sitting here in the place of the white man, saying what the white man wants you to say.
Okay. So what did he just say? He basically called him a what? A uncle, you know what? A pet, you know what? What we call Scooby-Doos on this channel. Basically called him Scooby-Doo. Like, you're not even your own man. You're sitting here in the place of another man saying what that man wants you to say. So you're not even credible. Right? That's what he puts. He starts off his initial statement with that. That's the bait. And you see how as soon as he says that, Carter wants to cut him off and say something and address that. Watch.
Hey, you've seen in the
Look, he
newspapers.
tries to jump in, and that's when Khallid starts hitting him with a barrage of facts. I'm like, bro, this is masterfully done. Masterfully done.
Post in the Daily News, me in the middle of the police and the security
See how
holding
he's smiling. He's smiling a little bit. He know he done got him. He done got under his skin with that comment.
back. It was impossible.
Again, Carter's approaching and he's trying to make it look like this is two titans, two powerful black men coming together to sit down and you know, debate almost. You know what I mean? It's a clash of ideologies, a clash of different sides. You know what I mean? That's how Carter wants to frame it, right? For his masters up there at New York 1. And already you see Dr. Khallid, he's strategically repositioning Carter to make him look like what he really is, which is Scooby-Doo.
To leave. I've even heard the lie that I left in a white Mercedes Benz, which was early in the morning at 9 a.m. when I went to Federal Express. The police froze all vehicles behind the stage. No vehicle was allowed to leave that day. And as I faced the Klan and police in Jasper, Texas, after they had dragged our brother to his death, that is the way I faced.
And he did pull up to Jasper, Texas, him and the new Black Panthers, and they had guns and everything too. So yeah, this man was he was the real deal.
Them that day, and it is a propaganda scheme to say that I turned heels and ran, and I understand it's up to you to make sure that that gets out.
See how he did that? So he starts it off by putting the bait in there, and then he ends it by basically putting more bait. Right, by piggybacking off of what he said in the beginning. So he's already playing psychological warfare with Scooby-Doo.
But let me backtrack for 1 second.
So we're about to see how he takes the bait.
And it's up to you to make sure that that gets out.
But let me backtrack for 1 second. You've started with, I'm here in the white man's shoes, and I guess you're headed with the Uncle Tom.
Do you work for New York One?
I do work.
Are you being paid for this interview?
But
do you get a check, sir?
Is that the best shot that you have, the Uncle Tom line?
I didn't call you Uncle Tom, but
you said I'm.
You said it better than it could be said.
Bro, I hope y'all are seeing, like, because he did not say Uncle Tom. He ain't say that. He ain't say he ain't say you're the white man's boy. He ain't say you. All he said was facts. But the way he said it, right? And then the implication as far as who he is, you get what I'm saying? And what his overall stances are. It made Dominic Carter, aka Scooby-Doo, jump to conclusions. So he jumped on debate, and now he's so you saying I'm Uncle Tom? And then as soon as he says that, did you hear what he just said? He said, I didn't call you an Uncle Tom, but you said it better than it could be said. In other words, hey, I didn't call you that, but you said it, and I agree. Bro, that's cold, man.
You've started with
You could tell he had rehearsed this. He in his planning, you could tell it was a part of his overall planning. He was like, yeah, he's gonna call me an Uncle Tom, and this is what I'm gonna say. Yeah, when he calls me, this is what I'm gonna. You could tell, because his entire approach so far has been attack mode. It's been aggressive. It's been offensive this entire time, and Khallid is literally beating him with just defense. Damn near got this man beating himself up.
Here in the
that day, and it is a propaganda scheme to say that I turned heels and ran, and I understand it's up to you to make sure that that gets out.
But let me backtrack for 1 second. You've started with, I'm here in the white man's shoes, and I guess you're headed with the Uncle Tom.
Do you work for New York One?
He is in the white man's shoes, so you see how Khallid basically bitch slaps him a couple more times with some facts. He says,
I do work.
Are you being paid for this interview?
But
you work here, and are you being paid? And that's true. So you are in the white man's shoes, just like you and I, brothers. Whatever corporations we're working at or companies we're working at, we're there in whoever's shoes that whoever the owners are, we're there in their shoes. We represent them. So it's like there's no argument here, Mr. Dominic Carter.
Do you get a check, sir?
Is that the best shot that you have, the Uncle Tom line?
I didn't call you.
See, he didn't say Uncle Tom. He jumped to conclusions, but that's because Khalid Muhammad very, very strategically and low-key, passive-aggressively put that bait out there. He put that implication out there, but very wisely, he did not just directly say it. See, to me, when I look at this is a masterful display of passive aggression and how to use it, how to effectively utilize it, especially when you're a TDF apex predator. How to effectively use it on a Scooby-Doo, right? You put it out there, let them jump on it, and then if they say what you were implying, you hit him with the whoa, buddy. I didn't say all that, but hey, you said it better than it could be said.
Your Uncle Tom, but
you said
it better than it could be said. You are here indeed. I believe you are a professional, but I do also believe that as a professional, you have a job, you have a duty. And I don't believe that you are a reporter first in the way that you have presented yourself to the community.
So Khallid is about to get him again.
A reporter who reports fairly. I believe that before being a reporter, you shouldn't be a reporter first. You are not a reporter first.
He's about to put him in such a tight spot, a compromised position. Check this out.
You should be black first with the responsibility. What kind of reporter would sit up and keep telling lies? What kind of reporter would try to confuse his people for a paycheck?
Well,
can you answer that, sir?
Again, I'm here to ask the question.
But can you answer that?
Again, one other question.
Will you answer that, sir?
Minister, I'm not here to answer the question.
What kind of reporter
would ask the question?
Put out false reports, sir?
I don't
You're
put
my
out
brother.
false.
I love you, but don't do this, brother. Be a strong...
So he attacks him, and then he turns around and then sons him. Like, don't do this, brother. You better than that. What? Bro. He sent allegations his way. He said basically you're working for the white man and you've been set up here as a figurehead to confuse your own people. And you're doing that for a paycheck. Why are you doing this? Basically got him with that, and then turned around and then sunned him.
For a paycheck.
Well,
reports fairly. I believe presented yourself to the community, a reporter who reports fairly. I believe that before being a reporter, you shouldn't be a reporter first. You are not a reporter first.
You should
be black first with the responsibility. What kind of reporter would sit up and keep telling lies? What kind of reporter would try to confuse his people for a paycheck?
Well,
can you answer that, sir?
Again, I'm here to ask the question.
But can you answer that?
Again, one other question.
Will you answer that, sir?
Minister, I'm not here to answer the question.
What kind of reporter
would ask the question?
Put out false reports, sir?
I don't
You're my brother. I love you, but don't do this, brother. Be a strong reporter. Be a revolutionary reporter. It was Paul Robeson who said the battlefield is everywhere. And so you must battle on the battlefield at New York 1.
Police made the...
Bruh, he told this man he's got a battle on the battlefield of New York 1. This is where he works. He is a pet, you know what? He is a Scooby-Doo. His masters then sent him out here to do this. And then Khallid is telling him, you must battle them. While he's on their platform.
The move last year to shut down the generator.
Notice how Carter didn't answer any of those questions, any of those allegations that Khallid sent his way. So already beginning of this interview, I mean, he's losing. Where are we at? We're 8 minutes into the interview. Carter is behind the ropes. He's losing.
But you had to know. You had to know. You're a...
It was Paul Robeson who said the battlefield is everywhere. And so you must battle on the battlefield at New York 1.
Police made the move last year to shut down the generator. But you had to know, you're a very smart man, that the city was not going to let you go 1 minute past 4 o'clock. Can one reasonably conclude that you were looking to spark an incident, possibly to spark a riot?
Emphatically no, sir, I was not. And I appreciate the credit that you have given me, but I did indeed believe that there would be flexibility at the end of the rally because they had promised flexibility and they had said that there would not be strict adherence to the 4 o'clock. So as you know, and I've heard you say, I had finished speaking. The police attacked an otherwise peaceful rally that had already concluded as I told our people to go on home in love and unity to their families. So I guess to some degree, sir, I did not believe that they would attack at 4 o'clock or 401 in answer to your question.
Are you going to honor the 4 p.m. deadline tomorrow?
Indeed, I will honor the 4 p.m. deadline on tomorrow.
Are you willing to vow that you or your supporters will not call for violence tomorrow under any circumstance?
No, sir, I am not. We believe that by the grace and the power of Almighty God and our ancestors, that we have a God-given right. We have a human right, and according to white constitutional law, we also have, according to white constitution, a constitutional right to believe.
He just keep destroying them with facts. So Carter tries to get him to vow, get a grown man to vow that under no means will he defend himself or have his supporters defend themselves, even if they're at the hands of violence by other people. And he straight up said, no, sir, we will not. And then he brings up the Constitution.
Believe in peace if possible, but violence when necessary. Everything in nature, sir, will defend itself. We should not be the aggressor. We should not be provocative, but we should defend our men, our women, our children, and our elders, as Judge Chin said, in self-defense.
So
he brings up Judge Chin, which was in his answer to the very first question that Carter had asked.
Telling me here now that you're not.
And then this goofball asked the same question over again. After that answer, after that well-spoken, articulated answer from Khallid Muhammad, this goofball, Scooby-Doo, can't do nothing else. Can't think to do nothing else but then to just ask the same question all over again.
Defend our men, our women, our children, and our elders, as Judge Chin said, in self-defense.
So you're telling me here now that you're not ruling out the possibility of violence.
So now check this out. So he asked the same question again, which means that he's losing. He doesn't know what to do. He's like, so you're telling me now that I have to tell my masters that you're not going to stop this? So when he does that, when he makes this mistake, you see what Khallid Muhammad does. He attacks his manhood.
I honestly do not believe, Brother Dominique, as hard as you attempt in your weak manner to press, I honestly do not believe that there will be any violence tomorrow whatsoever as we present the Million Youth March 1999 7-point program of action.
So we see what Khallid's play style is in this interview. He throws a shot, and then before you can jump in, he just moves on into just giving facts. He'll throw a jab in there first, get you, then he'll just go ahead and eloquently say whatever he's got to say.
I believe.
Not ruling out the possibility of violence tomorrow.
I honestly do not believe, Brother Dominique, as hard as you attempt in your weak manner to press, I honestly do not believe that there will be any violence tomorrow whatsoever as we present the Million Youth March 1999 7-point program of action. As we present that program to the masses of our people, to the indigenous people called the Latinos and called the Dominicans and the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans and the Red Indians or other indigenous people who will come to join in with us. And I hope you will be there.
I will be there.
Not just as a reporter, but as a black brother.
I will be there in the role solely of a journalist. I want to talk.
But black also, right?
I want to talk.
But you will be there as a black man, won't you?
I'll be there in the role of a journalist.
Only as a journalist?
I'm interested.
Oh, Brother Dominique, I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed of you.
Do y'all see how Scooby's getting ate up out here? We got Scooby-Doo going against a real apex predator. And what's crazy is the apex predator isn't even on the hunt like that. He really isn't even on the offensive like that. Man. Let's go back. Let me hear that shit again.
To the masses of our people, to the manner to press. I honestly do not believe that.
So he starts off with that jab. He tells him, a grown man,
attempt in your weak manner to
press. Like, what? What?
press. I honestly do not believe that there will be any violence tomorrow whatsoever as we present the Million Youth March 1999 7-point program of action. As we present that program to the masses of our people, to the indigenous people called the Latinos and called the Dominicans and the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans and the Red Indians or other indigenous people who will come to join in with us. And
so notice he lists out all these different indigenous people, right? And then he throws he very, very deftly maneuvers Dominic Carter, aka Scooby-Doo. He maneuvers Scooby into saying that he's not going to be a part of it. Now think about it. This is another so-called black man. So he basically maneuvered that. Scooby-Doo in the beginning of the show was talking about, or the interview was talking about, I see you're heading for the Uncle Tom. Is that the best line you have? Blah, blah, blah. But then you see how Khallid Muhammad is literally maneuvering him into admitting that he's an Uncle Tom. And that slips right past Carter. Carter didn't even see that. He didn't perceive that. He didn't have nothing for that. There really was no real way to maneuver out of that question.
I hope you will be there.
I will be there.
Not just as a reporter, but as a black brother.
I will be there in the role solely of a journalist. I want to talk.
But black also, right?
Right there, that's where he got him. He doubles down on it. He said, but black also, right? Khallid don't like this man. He don't respect him. He don't like him. He don't respect him. And that's probably why, one of the major reasons why he didn't come in on some like aggressive, trying to basically take his head off. You know what I mean? Because he could have, for those of you that are already familiar with this brother, you already know. He most certainly had the means to do that. You know, really come in here guns blazing and destroyed this man. But he decided to really just play with him. You know, and he's masterfully using the art of passive aggression. I mean, you really think he feels this way? You really think he wants to see him there? He's smiling hard and stuff. Now, you're going to be there too, right? He's letting us know. Look at this. Look at this pet, you know what? Look at this Scooby-Doo over here.
7-point program of action. As we present that program to the masses of our people, to the indigenous people called the Latinos and called the Dominicans and the Cubans and the Puerto Ricans and the Red Indians or other indigenous people who will come to join in with us. And I hope you will be there.
I will be there.
Not just as a reporter, but as a black brother.
I will be there in the role solely of a journalist. I want to talk.
But black also, right?
I want to talk.
But you will be there as a black man, won't you?
I'll be there in the role of a journalist.
Only as a journalist?
I'm interested.
Oh, Brother Dominique, I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed of you.
Like, what? He said, I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed of you. That's something that like a father says to their son when their son messes up. So like he's like sunning this man in this interview, and we're not even halfway through the interview. And already the interviewer is getting sunned, completely destroyed. I mean, at this point, if this is a boxing match, we're in like round 3, and Carter's just getting his ass whooped. He's getting knocked down every couple of, every 30 seconds or so, he's getting knocked down. Okay, he's losing. He's losing bad.
You are
but he hasn't been knocked out yet.
What a mystery. I believe you only.
See how he's not able to address anything, any of the personal insults, any of the facts that were given, nothing. He just moves on to the next question. He literally cannot compete. He's out of his league right now. And hey, perhaps he knows it.
Brownstone on
the journalist.
I'm interested.
Oh, there's a black.
I mean,
solely of a journalist. I want to talk.
But black also, right?
I want to talk.
But you will be there as a black man, won't you?
I'll be there in the role of a journalist.
Only as a journalist.
I'm interested.
Oh, Brother Dominique, I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed of you.
You are somewhat a mystery. I believe you own a brownstone on Stravers Road here in Harlem.
You don't believe that. You know that.
Okay.
In Harlem.
Where else do you live? Do you have a residence in New Jersey?
No, sir, I do not.
Only in...
You know that if I had a residence in New Jersey, it would be back on the front page of the New York Post or Daily News, as they put right after my assassination attempt, put the picture of the building I was living in and a map in case someone got lost on their way to my door.
Okay, well, that raises a very legitimate point. How can you claim to attack whites and you were living in New Jersey in a building?
Like, Carter, you could tell he's already got his questions lined out. So his mentality is, look, I'm going to just ask these questions anyway. Khallid just said that he does not have a residence in New Jersey. So why would you continue with this line of questioning?
Predominantly.
He just said he doesn't have it and then talked about how absurd it would be for him to have a residence in New Jersey.
Their way to my door.
Okay, well, that raises a very legitimate point. How can you claim to attack whites and you were living in New Jersey in a building predominantly?
Sir, I live in New York and it's white. I live in the state of New York, and it's white.
That's not hypocritical?
Indeed, I live in the United States of America, and it's white-controlled and white-dominated. And I'm now interviewing on New York 1, which is as white as it can be, with a few black spots here and there.
Bruh. Bro, Mr. Dominic Carter is just outmatched. He oh my God. I know you brothers caught that. He said, he told that man that he's a white man, or he's a black man trying to be white with a few black spots here and there. And you hear the guy in the background laughing when he says this.
Which is controlled and white dominated. I live in the United States of America, and it's white controlled and white dominated. And I'm now interviewing on New York 1, which is as white as it can be, with a few black spots here and there.
Again, you, for the most part, remain a mystery.
And he cannot battle. He can't compete. It's like we're watching him basically take punches to the face, jabs and all types of stuff, and he's just standing there, you know, barely got his hands up. He cannot hang. This is tough.
But
he just moves right on. He can't get him with nothing back. He doesn't have no witty insult he can throw back at him. Nothing. Like, you see how the Scooby-Doo was just not prepared for this kind of approach from the apex predator. You see it. Scooby is confused. He's like, what is going on? Like, he's attacking me. I feel like I'm being attacked, but in my playbook, I don't have any moves for this. The only move that he had is what we saw initially when he jumped on debate. And he was like, oh, I see that you're saying I'm in the white man's shoes, so I guess you're heading with the Uncle Tom. Is that the best line that you have? And then Khallid was like, got him. He said, whoa, I ain't gonna call you an Uncle Tom. But you've said it better than it could be said. He's basically been losing since that point. Ever since that point, he's been losing bad. And now he's getting sunned on the interview, and then he's getting told that he's white with a few black spots here and there. I mean, and he has nothing. He has nothing. He's not even trying to defend himself.
With a few black spots here and there.
Again, you, for the most part, remain a mystery. But can you tell us, since the last Million Youth March, what have you done here in New York as a leader? Not general themes, specifics.
I'm so happy to answer that question because my critics have called me an outsider. The politicians of Harlem, when every day they sanction busloads of whites who are outsiders to come in and gobble up Harlem like little white Pac-Men, and have sold out to the white business interests and run the vendors from 125th Street. I must say to you that we have been working throughout the entire year with the black men's movement against crack, going door to door and street by street and block by block in the black community. That's not what I just started doing, my dear brother. That is what I've been doing all of my adult life and some of my young life as a teen, in addition to our anti-drug program. We're working to set up the free food program, only giving out food now and having free food programs here and there, but intending to lay the base from this mass mobilization, as Brother Kwame Ture taught us before he went on to the ancestors, now mass organization, free food program, feed the multitudes.
He's literally telling them everything that they've been doing. So Scooby's initial question was an attempt to try to discredit him as a leader. Like, okay, what have you been doing this whole time? You haven't been doing nothing. You ain't been doing nothing. And then the apex predator hits him with all this information.
Over the past year, we have done street patrols called crime units.
Been feeding the poor over the past year here in New York City.
My dear brother, sir, we have been doing that.
That brings up another...
And working with political prisoners that most talk about or read about. We have direct contact with them, speaking to them by telephone and in person as we go in and out visiting them and fighting for those who are on death row unjustly. Brother Gary Graham, Brother Mumia Abu Jamal, and many others of the political prisoners who are locked down. I'm not such a mystery. Black people in the black community have known me for a long time, and in the hip-hop community. But in a sense, the white man and you, to some degree, I don't believe you're really with them to that degree.
That's BS. He knows he's with them to that degree, but he's got to play that, make him feel like, you know, Carter, you still got a shot to get in good with me, or I don't necessarily believe that you're a complete piece of garbage. So he is just running game at this point. He knows Carter ain't nothing but a Scooby-Doo.
For a long.
And we've seen Khallid's pattern. Either he'll start with the insult and then go into his long but articulate answer, very, very strategic answer, and then end with an insult, or he'll just give his long answer and then he'll end with an insult. So the insults usually come in the beginning or the end of his statements.
Time and in the hip-hop community, but in a sense, the white man and you, to some degree, I don't believe you're really with them to that degree, are like Columbus. You're just discovering me just a few days ago.
Well, that brings up another good point. How do you make your living? Where do you earn your money from?
How do you make...
What type of segue is that? He just... He's losing.
Your living. Where do you get your...
That's not a question you ask no grown man. I mean, come on now. You should know better than that, Carter.
How do you make your living? Where do you earn your money from?
How do you make your living? Where do you get your money from?
But again, I'm here in the...
Well, how much do they pay you?
I make a decent salary.
And I make a decent salary from the...
And that's how he played him. You see the way he reflects that question right back at Carter, and he's so uncomfortable he can't answer it. He can't tell you exactly how he's making his money or how much money he's making. So right there, he exposes him very strategically. He exposes Carter as a hypocrite. Like, what, you asking me this question, you can't even answer this question. This is a BS question. But he's still going to answer it.
Masses of black people who love me.
Donations. Earn your money from?
How do you make your living? Where do you get your money from?
But again, I'm here in the...
Well, how much do they pay you?
I make a decent salary.
And I make a decent salary from the masses of black people who love me.
Donations?
From the masses of black people who love me and love the strong and bold, uncompromising stand to reestablish black power, black nationalism, Pan-Africanism, and black liberation theology in our youth and indeed in the masses of black people. So they make sure, my brother, that I have shoes on my feet and that I have food to eat.
You've lashed out at some of my colleagues in the press, but if you've done any research about me, you would know that I don't back down easily.
Like, Carter, what are you talking about? You've been losing. You're losing. This entire interview, you've been getting your ass whooped. You've been getting eaten up eaten alive by an apex predator. We're all seeing it. So what is he talking about? So now he's exposing that he's delusional. He said, if you've read about me, then you know that I don't back down easily. Like, what are you talking about? Dude, you've been losing. This man has been answering every single one of your questions, all while very, very strategically placing insults in his answers. And you haven't had an answer. You haven't had any rebuttals to the answers he's given or the insults that he's levied at you. You are losing. He's talking like he's motherfucking Malcolm X sitting across from them, and they just both disagree on something. They just going back and forth. It's like, no, Carter, you literally are food for the apex predator.
So let me try it again.
That's why I want you to be a comrade in the struggle, because you're not a back
He said that he didn't even bite on that. He did not bite on that.
down
Let's go
man.
back.
My feet, and that I have food to eat.
You've lashed out at some of my colleagues in the press, but if you've done any...
So you've lashed out at some of my colleagues, but I'm different, buddy. Come on, man. They done trained him up real well. I'm telling you, Scooby-Doo. I'm telling you. He just regurgitating whatever the gang taught him.
Research about me, you would know that I don't back down easily.
So he's trying to basically like toughen up. You know what I mean? I don't back down easily, so you better get ready, buddy. And then Khallid says this.
Let me try it again.
That's why I want you to be a comrade in the struggle, because you're not a back down man. We need you, brother. The black nation needs you.
Where do you earn your living from?
He don't take that man. He don't take that man seriously. This man is a joke to him. He don't take him seriously. But all right, well look. Damn, we're looking at about 57 minutes, an hour. I tell you what, I'm gonna wrap it up right here, and then if you guys are interested, I will do a part 2. I will do a part 2 to this video. Yeah, I'll just finish up. We're about damn near halfway there. Yeah, I don't want to be on here too long. But yeah, it's good to be back. Expect more videos from me. I can't necessarily tell you what the schedule is going to be as far as how I'm going to do it. I am in a different situation now. I'm not in the same goofy ass workplace with all the racist you-know-whats that I was dealing with at the previous job. I'm at a whole nother company. Still dealing with a lot of BS, but it's BS from a different demographic. I'll leave it at that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what the upload schedule is gonna be, and as soon as I get that figured out, I'm gonna be consistent this time around. I'm gonna be tireless. You know what I mean? Be tireless. I'm gonna continue to be deaf, and I'm gonna continue to finesse. For all of you out there that have been rocking with me from the beginning, continue to peep the game and finesse accordingly. PGFA. Now, for all the haters that might see this video or might stumble upon the channel, for you guys, PGFA stands for please get the fuck away. And I'm out.
I can't tone down. I tried to tone down. God didn't make me to tone down. I can't tone down. I can't bow down. I can't sit down. I can't give up. I can't shut up. God damn it, I must stand up.